we're ready to process the films, and I'm going to use a development time of 9.5 minutes. You take the lid off the top lid, not that inside lid, but the top lid, so you can pour chemicals in. So I'm going to pour the chemicals in. And start the clock as soon as I've got the chemicals in. I always agitate by inverting the tank 3 or 4 times in the first 10 seconds of every minute. And then I do a standard tap and trying to dislodge any air bells that there might be right at the start of the process. And we just do this every minute for 9.5 minutes. So that's the 8-minute agitation, and it takes about half a minute to drain a tank this size, so and to fill it up again with the next chemical. So that's included in the processing time for the developer. So I am actually going to start pouring the developer out on the 9 minutes because it needs 9.5 and then I'll have the stock bath mostly poured in by the time the 9.5 minutes is finished. Nine minutes. It's still developing even though I've poured the developer out, because there's developer in contact with the surface of the film. 9:15. So on 9.5 minutes all of the stock bath is pretty much in there. It's just got to drain down. A couple of inversions is fine for that. Then we'll just give it a few more seconds. It's not critical timing on stock bath because all it's doing is changing the pH from alkali to acid with the citric acid, dilute citric acid. So take the lid off, pull the stock bath out. That's done it. And the fixer in. A lot of other stock baths are made up in acetic acid. That was the traditional stock bath that was used for decades. So fixer is actually made up in acetic acid and quite smelly and can make you cough a bit. If it's in an enclosed room, you don't have to have the door closed as I have here. It's not too bad. Acetic acid is vinegar, like you put on fish and chips. So the agitation I use for this isn't critical, so I agitate maybe every 20-30 seconds by inverting it a couple of times. Okay, that's coming up for 4 minutes in the fixer. So we can take the lid off. It's quicker to drain without the lid. And I need to turn the reel up the other way so that the nozzle of the wash water can go in the end of it. And then I get a bucket of water, pour that in there, fill the tank up so that it starts washing as soon as possible, and then I turn the tap on to get fresh water going through. So these buckets have water tempered to 20 degrees centigrade, roughly. And then obviously tap water is a lot colder than that. So we're going to change the water every minute. The other thing I should have said was the agitation during the development is quite critical. So if you use the inversion agitation at the start of every minute, as I showed you earlier, you get much better sharpness for your negatives than if you use continuous agitation. The development time is a bit longer with the inversion agitation, but the negatives are better quality in mine, for what I want anyway. So be aware that agitation is really, really important for the development stage. And I'm bouncing it up and down like this to get rid of air bubbles that are clinging, I can see clinging to the reels, and I do this every minute. So we'll fast forward to the end of this and the rinse bath, but I'm going to be doing this for another 6.5 minutes. Okay, so that's had 8 minutes washing. Turn the tap off or I'll get soaked when I pull it out of the tank. Pour the rinse into the tank till it overflows. There we go. Just twizzle it around. I leave it for about a minute. And then I just pull it out and put it in the film drying cabinet. Okay, that's done, so I'll just let it drain a bit and then walk over to the film drying cabinet. These reels come apart and you just turn it clockwise. One part comes off, and then you can easily get a hanger on both ends. So this is the last film. Pull the reel apart and a weighted clip on the bottom and close the door, and in 20 minutes all of those films will be dry, ready to cut up and print from. So that's how you process 120 roll film.